Thank you for watching another edition of the East West Football Podcast. I'm Fidel Barraza, alongside with me, Jerry Martinez, Kendall Whitley, and tonight our special guest, the CEO of Newsstitched Media, Fago Franklin. How you doing, man?
I'm well, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hey, we appreciate your time. We know you're a busy man, so thank you.
Thank you again. So how you doing first and foremost before we jump into my journey of being in the sports media field?
I'm good, man. Alive, breathing. Just another Tuesday night. Just got off of work, so I'm good, man. How about you?
Oh man, I'm just getting ready for Super Bowl week. We're actually about to land tomorrow morning, and throughout the entire week we'll be doing Super Bowl coverage as well as FIBA coverage. So I have a couple of my interns actually covering the FIBA qualifying for the women's basketball Team USA women's basketball squad out there, and doing some stuff for UFC because we have a fight coming up on Saturday, and
Yeah.
then of course Super Bowl as well as the Winter Olympics.
Yeah. So, Fago, how'd you get into, the media world and, being able to create your own company, Newsstitch Media?
So basically, I went back to school in 2012. I asked everything about me is about my faith in God. So I had asked the good Lord if He could actually give me an opportunity within a job that I want to consider a job more like a career, that is something that gives me purpose. So as soon as I got back into school, a couple months later, I ended up actually getting an internship with in Lacrosse We Trust. So it piqued my interest of actually covering sports. Now I've been around sports my entire life. I played sports. I ran track, played basketball, played a little bit football. My family ran track. My dad played a little bit football, and my little brothers, played basketball, volleyball, and ran track. So sports was just a huge thing for our family. So nevertheless, in 2012, I actually got that internship and it sparked my interest. And then in 2013, I started working with Pro Players Insiders. So when I actually looked up their website, they covered everything that was NFL related and they covered Super Bowl. So I decided right then and there, why not me? Why can I cover a Super Bowl? And I actually hold on for a second. I'm sorry. I actually decided right then and there that I was going to actually cover a Super Bowl, which I covered my first Super Bowl media coverage in 2015, which was Super Bowl 50. And then a couple years later, actually covered my team winning the Super Bowl, which is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Patriots. So that's a little bit about my journey.
Yeah, no, that's a very telling story. I mean, the goal for everyone, especially people that are in the media love football, is the ultimate goal is to cover Super Bowl. So, how'd that feel whenever you covered your first one?
It was amazing. I actually sat there and cried. There's no refreshing feeling than actually watching your team win their first franchise Super Bowl championship. There is no feeling like that ever in life. And for 5 years of facing rejection, facing doubts, just struggling, trying to get from point A to point B, trying to unlock so many doors that was closed. It was refreshing that I actually got to cover a Super Bowl. That was my 5 year plan, and my 5 year goal was to cover a Super Bowl, and I did it. And I could sit there and say I did it. I graduated college, and I grinded. And like I tell people all the time, if you have a goal, you have to start with a daily goal in order to get to your dream. Everybody wants to dream, but nobody wants to work towards little by little daily goals. You have to set yourself a daily goal and then achieve that goal in order to make little milestones in your reality or either your dream.
Let's talk a little bit about Super Bowl 56. So you'll be in Los Angeles tomorrow. Obviously, we got a great matchup on Sunday. The Cincinnati Bengals, which not a lot of people were thinking were going to be in the Super Bowl this time last year, against the Los Angeles Rams, the home team. So just want to get your early thoughts on the matchup.
Honestly, I'm going with the Rams. I just like Matthew Stafford stories as well as Odell Beckham. I mean, Odell Beckham was basically forced out of Cleveland and then got another opportunity. And then we already know the storyline with Matthew Stafford never winning a playoff game and now actually reaching not just only reaching the playoffs and winning a couple of games, he's going to the Super Bowl. And I like everything what the LA Rams are doing. And then that city, just because of 2020, we already know what happened in 2020. You know, my basketball idol and Kobe Bryant has passed away. And ever since he had passed away, that city has bloomed as far as sports and championships is concerned. Because you had the Lakers winning one in 2020. Then you had the World Series. The Dodgers won the World Series. Now, you know, if the Rams actually win a Super Bowl there, that city is thriving. And I love everything about LA, you know, just the vibe out there, the excitement, and different things of that nature. However, with the Bengals, I'm an underdog in life. So I do like the underlining storyline with that and the three weapons that they have with Mixon, of course, damn, what's that? Wow,
Jamar
Jamar
Chase.
Chase. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, the running back, and then of course, you know, Stay Calm Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a
Er,
calm person, and I love his demeanor, especially when he's rushed in the pocket. He don't really panic, and he's only been in the league for 2 years. Like what he's doing is phenomenal. So I honestly think it's going to be a close game, but I got the Rams winning it like 27-21.
All right. Who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Ooh, you already know. Most of the time they're going to go with a quarterback, give or take. Um, but I could see maybe ooh Cooper Cup.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a key factor.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I'm gonna go with Cooper Cup.
hey, what's going on, Fago? Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you, man. Look, nice seeing you, man. Again, man. How you been?
Hey, been great, man. It's good to have you on. You know, we talk a little more than Jerry, you and Jerry Fidel do. I know you a little bit more, and I just wanted to get into. I know we talked a while back, and you about a few weeks, probably about a good month ago, we had talked, and you had told me that you suffered a setback because it was things that happened personally and whatnot. How do you try to stay positive through all that was going on with
Each and every day you have to just have a positive mindset because you can't take life for granted. Like, you know, a couple of years ago, my brother ended his life in 2018, which was like very devastating for me. And like he had passed away a couple of days before his 33rd birthday. So God bless you. So no problem. So, anyways, he had passed away March 28th. I got the news. Like my mother had called me, and me and her don't really get along. But that's another story for another day. She had called me and she was like, "Do you know what happened to your brother?" I'm like, "I don't know what's going on." I had to literally find out through Facebook that my brother had passed away, and so that was, you know, devastating because like literally I had to actually not only cover games but actually put on a smile, and that's like the hardest thing to do in life is put on a smile even when you're hurting inside and you don't really have anybody because you know the closest people to me have stabbed me in my back. So now I have trust issues because the people that I thought, you know, I was cool with or either close with, they disappeared, and when I needed them they weren't there. So I try to give away good good demeanor. I try to be good in character, and I love helping people out because that is my passion. And you always have to be uplifted because what people remember about a person is how they treat people, the conversations that they have, not the type of money that they have in their pockets, but how they treated them. Because we can be here today and gone another day. So I want to build a legacy on helping people out and overcoming adversity, and that's something that I'm big on.
Yes, I completely agree with you there. Fago, I've always looked at you as like a mixture of a Stephen A. Smith and like an Adam Schefter. I see your posts on social media, on Facebook a lot. Yeah, man, you're a busy man. You're always on the road. You know, we've talked a while back. Every time I talk to you, either flying or coming in or going somewhere, you're always going somewhere. So you're real busy. When did you feel news Twitch media was at its peak? Like when did it really take off?
It's that's a good question. Um, I put it this way: I've been super blessed. So I started Newsstitched Media during the pandemic. So it's basically I revamped it because in 2015 I started it, and it was through Newsstitched magazine. So I actually got to cover President Obama's White House correspondent with my own publication, as well as Super Bowl 50 with my own publication, which was just a phenomenal aspect for me. However, I started working with Fox Sports, the Taj Magazine, Inspired Magazine, numerous outlets, because I was actually trying to get my foot in the door, not realizing my foot was already in the door. And so a lot of people come to me about doing featured stories and different things of that nature. So when we had the pandemic, everything was at a halt. And my publication I was writing for, she paused her type of content. So I'm like, I have all this type of content. How do I get this stuff out to the public? So I was like, hey, I'm gonna start my own publication. And it has been growing. Last year, we have blew up. We cover things for Showtime Boxing to, soccer to Tribeca Film Festival, Art Basel, any and everything, like the big events that a lot of people want to go to. Like, I've been very privileged to actually cover that. So it didn't just start, it started off as a publication. And honestly, now it's more so of a purpose to help other people out. Because I feel like with Newsstitched Media is giving tools to people that are actually in the field, with actually getting them ready to go to a top 5 market. Because I have those type of connections that are, A-list people or A-list events. I can actually tell people about how to get on the media distribution list. I can actually tell people about their writing style or how to formulate, a press release, and how to find that right connections and different things of that nature. So that is what Newsstitched Media is now. And it's more so of a publication and platform to help other people in the field.
Appreciate you, bro. And then I do appreciate you last year helping me get on the Kansas City Chiefs media call, because you did. I reached out to you and you did look out for me. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, anytime. Like I said before, like I love helping people out, and that is literally my purpose with being in this field, because a lot of doors was closed to me when I started this little journey of mine. And I feel like, as Denzel Washington has stated in a inspiring message, reach one, teach one, reach one, and reach another. And so that is how
Yes.
you bridge, and that's how you bridge positivity, upliftment, and a bridge of connecting people together, because you never know who you're going to need later on in life.
Appreciate it, Fago.
Anytime.
Fago. So this is Jerry. And let me just say something real quick. For those out there that are not following you on your social media, your Facebook, you guys got to add him. I mean, it's entertainment. It's like you said, news, everything, every little bit of everything. There's a little bit sprinkle of everything. It's almost like, what is it? Everything but the bagel seasoning.
Yes.
So and I like that, man. I didn't know that you covered all sports. So let's kind of talk about journalism a little bit. So, journalism, the only thing with journalism is, how do you keep the listeners to kind of continuously come to, especially a website. So how do you keep the mind fresh? How do you keep the stories fresh? I mean, can you share that with us? I mean, or give us a sneak peek perhaps?
Oh yeah, sure. So, like, everything is based on technology as well as social media platforms. So you want to kind of engage with your audience. So that's why I have like little fillers. Sometimes it might be graphics, sometimes it might be breaking news, or either sometimes it might be actually like a poll or a little debate. Like, I get tired of this whole storyline of who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have Kobe in the conversation. And you have to look at the spots on the floor. Like, Kobe is our MJ and LeBron is our Magic. Period, point blank. That's, the conversation's over. And so you see like other outlets that, always talking about that, or either Dallas Cowboys. So with me, I try to mix in with what my viewers like, whether it's sports or either entertainment. Right now I'm talking about the Golden Globes. So I'm trying to, uh, get my feet a little bit wet within the entertainment field now, so I can actually engage with films that people should watch. And so, like, you just have to be authentic. Like how I told you about my story, and talking about dealing with mild depression with my brother's death and different things of that nature. At the end of the day, I don't care how big you get, we are still people. So you just
True.
bring it down to, we just bring it down to another person's level. If we're talking about sports, you actually want to engage. Like, who's like, prime example, like, what are your thoughts about, the Rams versus Bengals game? The same thing with you. Like, I would like to know your perspective about, who do you think is going to be the key factor with the Rams or the Bengals, or what excites you about any type of sports that you're looking at, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's the PGA, whether it's tennis, anything of that nature. And so that is literally my job, is to engage my audience. And you do that by being authentic and actually understanding what you're conversing about, and the topics that you're conversing about. And then you can actually look at your story feature. That's why I put a lot of fillers in my stories to actually see who's actually looking at it. And that's more so of a marketing tool. So everything you do in life is about marketing. And so even like when I'm watching, like right now, I'm watching the House of Gucci, and I'm jotting down things that, within the film, because these are key fillers for me to actually to help me as an entrepreneur. So I jot little notes down, and I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do, and apply it to my life and what I'm trying to do with my brand. The same thing goes with, marketing yourself on social media. You have a lot of people that are influencers. What are they actually influencing? They are promoting their face, but they're really not promoting the substance of what's coming out of their mouths. Anybody can sit there and take a photo and look good, but it's the words that are coming out their mouths that that people will gravitate towards.
Thank you so much. Hey, so I got a couple more though. Some
Go
good.
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
got some good ones, man. So let's say that 20-year-old oh man, they want to take that step, but they're afraid. But hey, how about that 40-year-old that is tired of that 9 to 5, right? That knows that they were destined to be a part of, sports, whether it be through social media, through journalism, or, like you said, influencing. What piece of advice would you give that 20 to 30 to 40-year-old that's on the fence about, taking that leap of faith towards, moving into sports?
When you're 20, you ain't got no nuts. So you don't know anything about you don't know anything about life. You're 20 years old, and society put this whole aspect on people that are 20 to like 30 years old. You're supposed to be successful at 20.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't go back to school until I was 25 years old. I didn't get a degree until I was 29, and I didn't even know what I wanted to do until I was 28 years old. So you have time. So you have to find something that you have a purpose for, because everybody wants to get into this field just only on the aspect of the glamour. They want to actually cover games, but they don't want to put out articles. They don't want to post on social media. I have to get at my interns on a consistent basis about posting content on a regular basis. It gets annoying for me because I'm their editor, and they want to go to all these lavish events, but they don't want to put in the work because they're looking at social media, and social media has this whole instant gratification that you can actually get there and within a week, and then you have all these followers. It doesn't work like that. It took me 9 years to actually become the person I am, a force in the sports media field. um but I would say this: there are 4 P's that you have to have in life. Is you have to have purpose, you have to be very passionate about it, you have to be patient, and you have to be persistent. If you don't have those 4 P's in life, then you're not going to survive. Because again, when you're going through tough times, you have to have something that is meaningful to you, something that gives you purpose. Me, I love helping people out. So I work, like, no lie, I work a warehouse job for the time being because COVID-19 had messed a lot of things up. Now I was also doing public relations, lost all my clients. My whole thing is what keeps me awake and keep me striving and hungry is I'm competing with the best of the best. So I'm a competitor. So while people working at Fox Sports or ESPN, I'm trying to get that Maria Teller money. She making millions right now, and I'm literally like, her resume and my resume are neck and neck. And I'm like, she makes me a better person just on the aspect because I realized a little bit too late about negotiating your worth. When you have something that other people want, now you can negotiate to the companies, especially if you're on the media distribution list for all these different things. And now a company can't tell you, oh, well, I have this connection, because you can sit there and say, hey, I got this connection to, this, and the fourth. I can actually get you exclusive interviews with this, and the fourth. And if you're doing it on a consistent basis without a big network, now you're negotiating what you're worth to that company, not the company negotiating what you're worth to them. That's what makes you more valuable. But a lot of people don't want to do that, or put in free internships, or they don't want to do anything for free. They want everything paid. However, you got to pay your dues. So even when you're 40 years old, you still have to have that passion. Everything is based on passion, and everything is based on your why. Why are you doing this? What gets you up early at night? Because at the end of the day, like, everybody wants to have the Mamba mentality until it's time to get up early. No lie, I used to get up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of people like, do you sleep? Nope. Why? Because at the end of the day, I sleep when I'm dead. It makes and I'm hungry. Like, I'm seeing everybody else eating. I'm hungry because in my, like, while y'all might praise me and stuff like that, I feel like I haven't done anything. And I have done a lot of different things, but to me personally, I'm always competing with myself. And I'm trying to be the best person that I can be on a daily basis. However, I want to actually help other people out in the field. And so when I give them the same advice that I give myself, now I'm more hungry because now I'm giving the advice that they have. Now they're competing with me, and I'm the type of person I lead by example. So I can give you advice all day, but you want to actually physically see me doing the things that I told you. So if I told you to do 6 articles a day, I expect myself to do 6 articles a day. I'm not going to tell somebody something that I never did or would never do. That's just not who I am. But again, you got to be authentic. You got to be true to yourself, and you have to have faith. If you don't have a high belief in God or any religion or anything, have faith within yourself. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to fail yourself. We're going to all be disappointed by somebody, but you don't want to disappoint yourself. And it starts off with daily goals. You can't reach that milestone without having daily goals. So with me, I'm a little bit more intense. So I don't eat until work is finished. I don't eat breakfast until I have like 3 to 4 different connections. I'm always on LinkedIn. I don't eat until things are done because it makes me hungry. Because at the end of the day, I'm hungry, literally and metaphorically.
Wow. So a couple more, and I think we should that'll end it for me. But can you recall your first aha moment, or that one moment where you kind of got starstruck, or meeting somebody that you grew up watching or listening to, somebody that you met along your journey, like that was a big name? I know that myself, I've had those aha moments. With some of our guests, and I'm pretty sure Kendall and Fidel can say the same thing too. But can you give us your aha moment, and how did you overcome it and stay poised?
I didn't overcome this. I was, and God bless his soul, I was beside my basketball idol and Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Literally beside him. Yes, literally beside him. I was trying to ask him a question in my mind. I'm like pretending to touch Kobe Bryant and like it's a coach, because at the time when I met him, he was coaching an AAU league, and so he was actually at the WNBA game because I covered the WNBA, the Aces and versus Sparks game, and then I actually got to talk with Derek Fisher, which was pretty cool. I'm a diehard Lakers fan, which was pretty cool. But then they had announced over the PA system that Kobe Bryant was in attendance. I was like, oh my gosh, where's Kobe? And I see him. I'm like, yo, whoa, he's for real? He's a person? And then I'm like literally beside him. I'm trying to tap him, thinking I'm tapping him. I'm starstruck. I'm trying to move my feet. And then I actually said this out loud. I'm breathing the same air as Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant to me wasn't just a basketball player. To me, he was everything that I wanted to be. Even now, even as a journalist, I have that Mamba mentality. Because a lot of people don't understand what the Mamba mentality is. It's an obsession with bettering yourself and improving your craft. No matter what you have to do, you don't make excuses for yourself. You get up, you get the job done. And that is something I have took over the years. I used to play basketball. I'm 5'6". There's so much I can only do because I'm short. But that mentality that I had, that you're not going to outwork me. I don't care how tall you are. I don't care how big you are. I will outwork you. I will outrep you. I will outdo anything. I will be putting in the work while you sleep. And that mindset stuck with me, and it molded me into the man I am today. So to go back to the Kobe Bryant situation, I thought I had time. Like I had alluded to, a couple minutes ago. You never know when somebody's going to leave. I thought I had time. So I tapped his daughter, Gigi, on the arm, and I spoke with her for like, 2 seconds. I'm like, I see you doing your thing. Good job. Like, you're going to be a force. And she was like, oh, thank you. And with Kobe Bryant, my goal the next year was to actually have a one-on-one interview, because I botched that. I didn't have I would never get that opportunity ever. So I took that as a lesson to not only push past it, but ask the questions that needs to be asked, because you never know when that person is going to be when that person is going to die. You never know if that's your first and only shot with actually asking that person a question. So now these days, I don't care, if I'm around this person or somebody that's huge that I admire, I gotta go ask that question, because again, that was my learning lesson. And so I tell, interns and different things of that nature of my lessons, and I hope that they learn from it. Just because, like, even though I'm a fan of his, I still could have asked a question that could have went viral or something like that. You never know.
Never know.
But I appreciate that opportunity because it gave me a learning lesson, and it helped me and molded me into again, a better leader, because I could have, you know, when you're an editor, people look up to you. So I got to lead by example. So I can't sit there and tell my reporters to go out there and ask Kobe Bryant a question if I get starstruck. So I take that as a learning lesson, and I tell people I'm very authentic. You're going to get starstruck, but you got to get pushed past it, because at the end of the day, you need to do your job.
Ain't that the truth? So, last two things, and you can blitz through it. What's been your favorite storyline so far, through the off season, and can you give us a prediction of a future storyline that we should see in the NFL coming soon?
Uh, uh, my favorite storyline.
Yeah, like a coaching move, stuff, or this player doesn't want to be here for so and so. You know what I mean? Whatever it is.
All right, so I got to get on race because it's Black History Month,
Okay.
and I'm a person of color.
All right.
With the Colin Kaepernick situation, Roger Goodell never fully gave Kaepernick his full due of an apology, but yet sat there and said, "Hey, we're going to implicate, more diversity." But yet, there's only two Black coaches, head coaches in the NFL, and one Latina. Where's the diversity? Why do we have the same storyline over and over and over each and every year? It's like you're saying the right things, but when your actions tell the truth, there's no reality to it. There's no truth to it. And with me being a person of color, as well as an NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists, it it disheartens me to actually see that we're still trying to fight for equality, and not just only in sports organizations to be seen, but as well as the world. So that's one of the biggest storylines is diversity, because, like, it seems like, more people that are gay are actually getting more exposure than people of color or women of color, which I have no problem with. But at the end of the day, we should all share some type of diversity. It shouldn't be a trend to be like Black Lives Matter when there's only one Black person actually in the executive role. And then you had to wait until a movement comes and shakes up the world and be like, "Oh, well, I'm going to start doing things a little bit different." So with that is always going to be the headline about diversity, because I think the NFL makes up 75% of African American players, but there's not one African American owner in the NFL. We got to do something about that. We have to implicate from the bottom up more diversity, whether it's gender roles, or either whether it's head coaching position, because African Americans can probably have a little bit more of an outlet to talk with these players than somebody that is white, because we already just seen with oh man, Bill Belichick, some so-called racist and insensitive comments are coming out in his camp, and we already know within the type of quarterback that he likes. He's a traditional guy. He likes a traditional quarterback. So when Cam Newton went over there, it was kind of weird. It was like that passive aggressive racism, because we already know he don't go after a Black quarterback. When do you ever hear Bill Belichick going after a Black quarterback, especially a mobile quarterback?
It's hard, man. They've had Tom Brady for so many years, and they didn't really need anybody after that. But
Did he actually
Yeah,
help Cam Newton out? Like, look at all the weapons that he got. He gave Mac Jones.
I was gonna say, I mean, up until Cam Newton, that's been the only one so far in his
Exactly.
regime. In his regime, well, he had
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett, but I believe he got traded. He got traded, and then from there, I think he's with the Dolphins now, right?
No, well, so Jacoby Brissett got traded to the Indianapolis Colts, I believe, and then
Colts.
from
Yep.
there he went to Miami.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, it's kind of hard, right? When some of the facts are there in front of your face, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the storylines that needs to change, because I get tired. I would just want to call with Tony Dungy. And Tony Dungy was like, when him and Lovie Smith, made history in the Super Bowl, he thought that was actually the leading factor with hiring more minorities. Why are we still having the same conversation? Like, this is ridiculous. But an up and coming storyline will be about where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. Is he going to stay with Green Bay, or is he going to leave?
What do you think?
That I think he's gone.
Wow.
I think they and all right. So this is what I think. He's probably looking at what they're going to get in the draft, and if he don't like that, he's out, because they need help. They need another wide
But he
receiver.
did. I didn't mean to cut you. He did say he wants to make his decision before free agency does. So he did say that.
And look, and the other thing too is I wouldn't be surprised if he lets people know what he's going to do this weekend and try to steal the spotlight away from Super Bowl 56 too.
The spotlight has already been stolen. Tom Brady stole that.
Well, the second
Yeah,
time, I guess you
true.
can say.
Yeah.
Well, the second time.
I guess he wants to outdo Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, because Tom Brady, I mean, like, let's be honest, he was trying to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not trying to take away from the game," but basically he did. He could have waited until after the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
because, but like, let's be honest, the last time the Rams was at a Super Bowl was what?
I was against the
Someone else.
Patriots.
There you go, 2019, 2018, 2019 season.
Well, I mean, let me ask you. I mean, so before when Schefter reported that Tom was going to retire, did you already did you hear any of this previously, or did you hear like, no, he's going to come back?
It was speculation that he was going to come back, because
what was your gut feeling though?
I thought he was going to actually come back, just on the aspect of he's a competitor, and the way that they lost, it's like a competitor. It's like you want more, you're hungry. But he already had alluded to, like, he already had gave the game everything he had, and it's now time for him to actually be a father and actually, be there for his wife. So it was either it was like 75% that he was going to retire, and then the other percentage that he was going to come back.
Fago, thank you so much. I'm sorry to put you through all the hectic right there, but hey, man, you did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, anytime. These are not even tough questions. These are questions that need to be talked about, especially about race and different things of that nature, because we're all as one. We are united, and we have to talk about these uncomfortable topics in order to bridge that gap of diversity.
Oh yeah, and I am Mexican American. I know Fidel's also Mexican American, so I mean, it's not an easy road for us either. I mean, we see it on a day-to-day basis sometimes, of as far as things not being equal to us.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I lead off with. We got to help each other. We have to grow and understand that this stuff don't need to be swept around under the ground. We need to actually have these type of conversations, and that's how we're going to grow as a country, and that's how we get an understanding of somebody else's background. And a lot of people don't want to see that, and change is coming, but it's gradual change. And if you don't have representation, then how else are you going to get somebody else's perspective? Because representation is the starting point to inspire other people.
True. Thank you, Fago.
Anytime.
All right, Mr. Franklin, before I let you go, please tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
So basically, you can find me on my Facebook, which is Fago White Franklin III, Fago Franklin III, Newsstitched Media. You can actually follow me on my Instagram, which is my name, Fago Franklin. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Newsstitched Media. My website is newsstitchmedia.com, and you can actually find me or Google me, Fago Franklin III, and all my information, as well as the interviews that I have done with your favorite celebrities or media personalities, as well as athletes, are up there.
You know what? Before I let you go, I do have one more question for you. So obviously, there was a big trade today in the NBA between the Indiana Pacers and the Sacramento Kings. A lot of people are shocked that Sacramento gave up so much for Sabonis. Just want to get your thoughts.
Ah, I'll say this: the Kings will always be the Kings.
Or the Sacramento Queens, how Shaq used to call them back in
Yeah,
the day.
I don't understand why they gave up so much, and they actually had a young team, and you actually had like an all-star that you kind of could mold. I don't understand that trade at all. To be honest, they gave away a lot for somebody that is decent, but I don't know if he's going to actually fit that mold for the Kings. But I'm looking to see what the Pacers are actually going to do, because they actually have some young talent out there. So I think they should move up in the ranks and actually make a good playoff push with the players that they just acquired.
What do you think happens with James Harden?
So right now it's speculation that he's staying, but you could
Tomorrow's the
tell,
deadline, correct? Tomorrow is the
yeah,
deadline? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And Steve Nash has already stated that James Harden is actually going to stay, that he wants to be there. However, it's just a tough time. The one thing about James Harden, when times get tough, he decides to like, oh well, I'm going to leave. We saw this with the Rockets.
Yeah.
He pushed himself out because he got frustrated because they was losing, and he didn't like what was going on with Mike D'Antoni and how he was running the offense. And he's the type of player that he has to have the ball in his hands. That's why I don't get this trade. Like when he when he got traded to Brooklyn, I mean, the ball's going to either be in KD's hands or either excuse me, Irvin's hand. So you're the third option. Harden has never been a third option. So I think he stayed with the Nets for one more year or so.
All right, Mr. Franklin, thank you so much.
Yes, sir, definitely.